The recording has begun. It's time to be funny. Go into funny
Okay,
mode,
funny
Zach.
time.
Funny. Be
The
funny,
N
Zach.
word. The N word.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to what is totally the first recording of Factually Funny, our brand new show starring Barrett Mason, better known as Milkman from Mars, and my gracious co-host, Zach Parker, pictured beside
Hey,
me,
that's
the
me.
only other person here. The show
Am
where
I the
we...
only person here?
If you interrupt my intro one more time, I'm gonna kill you.
Do it.
Alright. The show where we take you into the factual depths of all real-time events and people that are in some way, in their own way, rather funny. In my personal opinion, of course. And I'm no historian here, but I am a comedian. I'm the funny guy of the group, as we all know. So,
Obvious.
exactly. Man, it sure is hard being the funny guy of the group. So
I
today,
have a
Zach,
magazine.
would you like to know our topic? Since you obviously don't know right now, of course.
Well, of course not. What is our topic today?
Our topic today is Mr. John Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Churchill.
Boy,
Uh,
is that who I think it is?
of course it is. Of course it's Fighting Jack Churchill or Mad Jack Churchill, whichever nickname you choose to go with. Um, we'll start with the beginning here. He was born the 16th of September 1906 in Colombo, British Ceylon, which is an island just south of India. He was actually not born in Britain, or in Great Britain, which is something I did not know until I was researching him. Went to school at King William College and graduated at the Royal Military College in Sandhurst in 1926. He served in Burma when he joined the military with the Manchester Regiment, but left the military in 1936 and left to be a newspaper editor and male model in Africa.
A newspaper editor and male model.
He was a newspaper editor and had a side gig as a male model.
If so, me knowing about him, that just doesn't fit
It
what I
really
think about
doesn't
Mad
make
Jack.
sense. Which, I mean,
No,
if he made it, he made it. That's pretty sick. But, like, that caught me
that
off
just
guard.
doesn't fit what I think about whenever I think of Mad Jack Churchill.
Exactly. Um, he appeared in two movies, The Thief of Baghdad and A Yank at Oxford, and took second place in the 1938 Aldershot Tattoo Archery Contest, and represented Great Britain at the World Archery Championship in 1939. So,
Now, will
Churchill,
him being really good at archery come in later?
um, probably not. It's kind of the 1940s, and archery's kind of outdated. Well, I guess it was
Yeah, that's
1939 at
probably
the
right.
time of the second one, but um, the point being that Mad Jack Churchill was pretty good with a bow and arrow. The guy could fire a bow and arrow. Could fire a bow. Do you shoot a bow and arrow?
Well, I mean, yeah, you shoot a bow.
I guess so. Like technically, I don't like that.
I mean, I don't know about fire a bow and arrow because there's like no fire whenever you shoot a bow.
What if you light the arrow on fire?
Well, I mean, then you're stupid. You're dumb.
After Germany invaded Poland in September of 1939, Jack Churchill returned to the British Army. Jack was sent to France as part of the British Expeditionary Force, which was a very strong part of the British force, very similar to the U.S. Marines as far as I'm aware. They were the frontliners. They were out there fighting on the enemy territory. In May of 1940, Jack led a team of soldiers to ambush a German patrol by raising his claymore into the air and ordering his troops onwards, and was
So,
believed to have gotten a confirmed longbow kill in the scuffle.
so, so you're telling me that Mad Jack Churchill just walked onto a battlefield with both a claymore and a long.
In 1940.
in 1940.
This is World War II. This is not even World War One. Like we have, what's out there? MP40s, Sturmgewehrs, like Sten guns, Orsos.
God,
They,
I mean, they even had like freaking bolt rifles or something. Like they could have.
hmm
Nah, longbow.
And he got a kill with it, apparently. As
That's
far
pretty
as
metal.
we're aware.
I mean, I'd want to be the guy that gets a kill with a longbow.
It's pretty sick. I mean, as far as I'm aware, he's the only person that has gotten a confirmed kill with a longbow in World War II.
Well, I
Another
imagine
thing
he's
is
the
that,
only
like,
person to get a confirmed kill with a longbow anytime within the last 100 years.
I don't know, there's probably some backwoods redneck who shot his cousin and killed him with a longbow, let's be fair.
I mean, yeah, that's all right.
Those
But
two,
still,
though. After that, am I at the right place? Wait, let me make sure I want to be factually correct here. Yeah. Okay. After that, Jack participated in Operation Archery, a very ironic name, in Norway,
ah,
where he began the assault by playing March of the Cameron Men and threw a live grenade when the boat docked. So this boat is coming up, and he is sitting in this giant metal boat, and it's just playing bagpipes. Everyone's standing around him. He's probably echoing off the walls. He's playing bagpipes. He's having a hell of a time. And
now,
and then the doors drop, and he throws a hand grenade out.
so the guy running around with bagpipes and a sword and a bow was like, yeah, I want to be the center of attention for all of the gunfire.
I just, it's crazy that it sounds bad to say almost, but it's crazy that he walked out of there alive.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How did
There's
they?
just no way that he freaking finagled
I know that at
himself
least
out of
like
that
half
situation.
of the German, and I know there's gunfire and grenades, so I would understand them not hearing like the bagpipes at first, maybe. But like the man gets out, he's holding, probably bright plaid bagpipes because that's how most of them are, and he just throws a hand grenade. And I get that there was a lot of that, so he probably didn't stick out too much, but like somebody had to notice and go, that guy doesn't have a gun. Which, I mean, he probably did have a gun on him. That's probably exaggeration, but
Nah,
the dude's holding bagpipes. I mean,
I mean,
um,
even if he did, you know, if I noticed a guy running around with bagpipes, I wouldn't think anything of it.
probably
I just
not.
probably wouldn't shoot him.
That's probably why they probably were like, oh well, he's not an immediate threat, so I'm just gonna. But Jack also led landings at Catania and Salerno in Italy, which I probably botched those pronunciations, with a broadsword on his hip, a longbow and arrows strapped around his neck, and carrying bagpipes in his arms.
So, like, what happens whenever he gets tired of carrying the bagpipes or needs to fight someone? Does he just drop them?
He probably just drops him. I mean, he's got a
I mean,
sword.
but I mean, yeah, the bagpipes aren't cheap.
Well, Jack's already been a newspaper editor and male model for how many years by this point? He's probably got the money to buy more bagpipes. Plus, he's a
I mean, that,
Royal Air Force officer, so this dude's probably loaded.
yeah, probably. He was probably stacked.
I just now realized that Jack Churchill was probably rich. Like, I didn't think about that actually. But Jack also helped lead an assault on the town of Molina and up the Salerno beachhead. He and the captain that assisted him took around 42 hostages. Well, they're a whole team. It's not just two people, but they took around 42 hostages and led them down the Salerno Pass, where he got the Distinguished Service Order Award. After dealing with the hostages, however you want to putting them away. Every time I say putting the hostages away, I think of like, I just think of like cubbies, like place. I can't say putting hostages away. It sounds weird.
I mean, it's close enough. Just shove them in a cubby.
Put him in little cubbies. Close the door and give him a juice box. Um,
Precisely. That's the only way you could do it.
After the hostages were dealt with, Jack began walking his way down to the city, where he lost his sword in hand-to-hand combat.
That is
On the
so sad.
on the way, he found a lost American patrol and warned them to turn around. But the American patrol actually refused him, where he prompted them by saying he would not return to the town for a third bloody time.
So he just got tired of their crackers. Just like, I'm not coming back here again.
If I see your face here again, you're on your own. It's over. I don't care. Jack's just done with it. He misses his sword.
I just want my sword back.
In 1944, Churchill worked with Josip Brio Tito in Yugoslavia, a group of communist revolutionaries, where he led a raid on the German island of Brac, which is probably wrong. It's probably not how you say that. It's B-R-A-C, and it's got a little accent shaped like a U. I don't know anything about accents. There's no accents in the English language, so every time I see an accent, I get nervous. It scares
I've
me.
never seen an accent in the English language.
I mean, we have apostrophes, but like those aren't really accents.
I mean, you don't put those on like.
What does an accent do?
Honestly, I have no clue.
I took a year of French. I should know this. Anyways, Churchill and Joseph Brito Tito, apologies, led an assault on the German island of Brac, where Churchill signaled the raid by playing bagpipes, where he was supported by a British Spitfire, which was a short-range British fighter jet.
He was just playing bagpipes.
While they were going up to the island. Probably taking heavy fire because they needed a Spitfire to bust up gun armaments. So there's just bullets going everywhere, and this guy's just holding bagpipes. Not a care in the world.
I guess that makes sense, but
I guess, like, the thing is just that, like, what can he do? He's got to get to the island. If he gets shot, he gets shot. Like, I feel like he just wasn't scared of bullets. Do you think he thought he was playing a video game? He's hearing Doom music in his head.
I bet he thought he was playing Far Cry or something.
He's just like, it's not a big deal. It's not real bullets. The world's a simulation. The raid on Brac was actually successful, but the next day the Germans sent a counterattack to the island, which made quick work of the remaining soldiers. Mortars left all but Jack Churchill wounded or dead, where Jack actually played Will Ye No Come Back Again on the bagpipes until he was knocked out by a hand grenade and taken to Sachsenhausen concentration camp.
I guess that's one way to do it.
That reminds me of the Wolfenstein remake, where the assault on the safe house is happening, and the guy plays the national anthem on an electric guitar.
Yeah. The Wolfenstein remake was really good.
It was pretty good, actually. But he's sitting there playing a patriotic British song, and these German dudes, they were within hand grenade range, so they heard this. That's kind of BM. That guy's playing bagpipes and you throw a grenade at him.
Dude,
Well, I guess Jack did make quick work of pretty much everybody else by this point. Like, Jack was apparently a very strong leader.
I mean, yeah, but still, I mean, a grenade feels a little overkill with a guy with a sword and bagpipes.
And he's playing the bagpipes like, you know, he's not mounted up with his bow and arrow. He's playing them. But in September of 1944, in Sachsenhausen, the guards were distracted by a power outage, where Jack and Bertram James, another RAF officer, crawled underneath the concentration camp fences and began attempting to walk to the Baltic coast, which was very roughly around 200 kilometers away.
So he was just sitting there like, yeah, I'm kind of bored of this place. He just hops out and starts meandering his way over to the Baltic coast.
He just heads out. He's gone. He's absolutely steezing. I just
Now,
imagine
while I love the
he's sitting
minimal
in
amount of
the
food and the
concentration
hard
camp.
labor,
He's just sitting here. He's like, God, what a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And then,
and there he goes.
boy, I sure do love being enslaved in Sachsenhausen concentration camp in September of 1945. I sure do hope nothing wacky and uncharacteristic happens. 1944.
Boy, it would be a real shame if, like the power went out or something.
Jack Churchill was a living Doge meme, and I refuse to explain that. Jack was actually captured again at the German town of Rostock, a coastal town on the edge of the Baltic Sea, where he almost made it. I don't know where he was going from there.
I think Jack Churchill was like the embodiment of cheese.
I just wonder where he was going to go from the Baltic Sea.
I mean, because either way, he's going to have to go through hundreds of, probably a couple, or at least 1,000 kilometers of freaking German territory.
I have no clue. I don't know what his plan was.
Swim.
Actually, knowing Jack Churchill, I said earlier that there's no way he was swimming the Baltic Sea. Knowing Jack Churchill, he probably would have gotten bored and tried to swim the Baltic Sea at some point. Like, the man had patience.
You'll run into
though.
land eventually.
Jack was captured again, taken to Tyrol, a town in modern West Austria, in April of 1945. The prisoners in Tyrol were voicing concerns of they feared they were going to be executed by the standing SS officers. In response to the concerns and growing suspicions about the SS's real intentions, a German officer by the name of Captain Wiechert von Auvensleben sent his German troops to Tyrol to defend the prisoners specifically and prevent the SS from executing them. Which was
not everybody was the SS in the German military.
It was very respectful, like a very respectable move, and it actually worked. The SS slowly left Tyrol up to German occupation, so the prisoners were fine; they were safe. But as the American front line pushed on to Austrian land, the Germans were forced out of the camp, leaving the prisoners behind, where the prisoners were just free to do whatever. So Churchill just walked out of town and walked roughly 150 kilometers where he found the American front lines, and the war was already wrapping up because he had walked like 350 kilometers. Or no, like, yeah, probably close to 350, honestly, because he walked to the Baltic Sea, got captured, stayed for 5 months, then walks another 150 kilometers. Like, the dude was... How does he walk so much? And where did he get, like, food? You still with us, Zach? Your camera's frozen in the most peculiar way. Okay, we had a little bit of a technical issue there, but, it's a good thing we don't stream this.
Oh, yeah.
So we ended off with the war wrapping up. Jack Churchill walked about 250 kilometers. And on his thoughts about the end of the war, Churchill was actually quoted saying, "If it weren't for them damn Yanks, we could have kept the war going another 10 years."
I guess
Jack was not ready for the war to end. He wanted to keep going.
I mean,
I mean, he was probably right too. I mean, he wasn't wrong at all, but
Oh no, I mean
he was
America absolutely turned the tides of the war
he was very
in both
hungry
wars.
for war. Um, Jack was very much not an isolationist. But after the conclusion of the Second World War, Jack was not done in his military career. He joined the Seaforth Highlanders and became a parachutist for the Seaforth Highlanders. But he was posted to Mandatory Palestine, a British protected area just south of Jerusalem. Um, uh, Jack eventually was sent to assist a military convoy, or a medical convoy, sorry, not military, a medical convoy that was under attack by Arabian forces. Um, Jack actually went against the British orders to stay uninvolved and went as one of the first people on scene to try and help the convoy, where he knocked on buses and offered to evacuate passengers. The passengers unfortunately refused, thinking that a Jewish paramilitary force was en route to save them. But unfortunately, before they could get there or whatever happened, the buses caught on fire from gunfire, and 77 of the 79 passengers were killed. Jack actually stayed and suppressed fire and fought as much as he could. Was quoted saying, "About 250 riflemen were shooting at the convoy. Um, I begged them to desist from using the grounds of the American colony for such a dastardly purpose." Um, After these events, Jack actually set up the evacuation for around 700 Jewish doctors, patients, and students from the hospital that the buses were en route to, and got them to a better location for medical care. Uh, in response to this, the street in front of this church hospital was renamed to Churchill Boulevard in his honor. So Jack was a very noble man. Jack, he was a good guy, to say the least. He was a funny guy, a great leader, and a good man. That is
Now,
the story of Jack Churchill, the only man to get a confirmed longbow kill in World War II.
I'm gonna get a confirmed longbow kill in the last few 100 years worth of wars.
Yeah, probably. I mean, last time I can think of people using longbows was probably like the American Revolution. It's
Yeah,
just the
probably.
supporting native tribes too. So, Jack
I guess.
was not your average soldier, we could
Nah,
say.
he was just chilling.
He was a great leader, though. I mean, he had bagpipes, a sword, and a longbow, and he had multiple successful raids. Won two very highly distinguished medals in the British Army.
Oh yeah.
The whole story was both factually true, well, for the most part. I'm pretty sure. I did research, so I'm willing to say that the whole story is factually accurate, as well as being pretty funny, in my opinion.
Oh
Being
yeah.
the funny guy in the
Absolutely.
group. So one might say that it was factually funny.
Now wait a minute, Barrett. That wouldn't happen to be the name of the show, would it?
Well, Zach, you absolute buffoon. Of course it is.
Dude, that was funny.
It was also factual. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe and join for the next episode. Every bit helps. Thank you, guys. Once again, I am your host, Barrett Mason, joined here with my co-host, Zach Parker. Until next time.